Oh, it's great to be here this evening. Welcome to another episode of the Late Show with me, your host, Jeff Hensler. We are a partner show with the Pittsburgh Business and Technology Review, one of the most renowned shows here in Pittsburgh. Well, maybe not. I don't think really actually anybody knows who we are. But that being said, we're here tonight with three intriguing individuals interviewing three incredible firms. First, we have Sean Venata with Buchanan, Ingersoll & Rooney. Second, Kaylee Seraphin with Grossman, Yannick & Ford. And finally, Mr. Matt Young is going to go with American Eagle and figure out what these people do in business, how they conduct their ethics, and if they are running ethically. So without further ado, you're here with the Late Show with Jeff Hensler. For our first guest of the evening, I'd like you all to give a nice warm round of applause for my good friend, Mr. Sean Venata.
You too.
So, Sean, it's been a while. So can you tell me what the hell you've been up to for the last 3 years?
Well, I've been doing a lot of journalism, and we just interviewed a man, Mr. Huber, from a lawyer at Buchanan, Ingersoll & Rooney, and we found out all about their ethical procedures.
Great. Well,
Yeah.
that's what we're here to learn about today, Sean.
It is, yeah.
And I know you do a great job with
Thanks.
all
Thank you.
that. So
Thank
I'm
you.
going to start off with a question for you. Tangible policies and procedures. What is their bottom line? What are they doing by the book there at Buchanan?
Well, I'll tell you, Jeff. I mean, they have a mandatory for each of the lawyers there, and this is across the board, overarching theme. The American Bar Association and the Pennsylvania Bar Association requires 2 hours of ethical training a year, but also a strict guideline, a code of ethics for lawyers to live by. And that what it does, it provides the actual rules, the tangible rules, but also an abstract, how you should act, the normative response. So at Buchanan, Ingersoll & Rooney specifically, they do have training for their managers, and something that Mr. Huber pointed out to us that really stood out to me is the selection system. They don't only hire the top of the class from law school, they look for a certain ethical quality.
Wow. Well, that's good that we can rest assured
Yeah.
knowing they're picking the best of the best there
Yeah.
at the firm.
Yeah.
So beyond the ethical side of things, what is the culture like there? When you got there, what did you get a feel for? What did you get a sense of how they operated outside of the corporate policies and ethical policies
Yeah.
of the firm?
Well, something that really stood out to us when we were doing our interview is the role models that they have there. So people that have been at Buchanan, Ingersoll & Rooney have gone to be members of Congress, Pennsylvania Supreme Court justices, members of the Pennsylvania Senate, things of that nature. So they really, those new guys that they pick from the selection system, they have people to look up to. And the leadership that they have at Buchanan, Ingersoll specifically, they mentor those new employees. So in contrast to a case like Old Man White from The Verdict, where he used unethical language and he was an unethical leader, they try to instill those ethical values into their new employees, and they take it with them throughout their career.
That's really good. Mentorship is huge. I know I've had a lot of great
exactly.
mentors in my life, and I know you have too.
I have, yes. One other thing that stood out for me as far as the informal systems, the rituals. He made sure to tell us that they actually aren't rituals, because rituals come across as mundane and mandatory, and what they are at Buchanan, Ingersoll & Rooney is more of a bonding activity. Birthday parties, when you write a card for someone who has had a death in the family, it's not because it's a ritual that you have to do for the company, it's because they really are close there.
Okay. Well.
Yeah.
Great.
Mm-hmm.
So, tell me a little more. What overarching themes did you notice within the company?
So one thing I noticed that came up pretty frequently throughout the interview and us learning about the firm is the fiduciary responsibility that they have to the client.
Fiduciary.
That's a buzzword.
That's a buzzword,
That is a
Sean.
buzzword.
Everybody, that's a buzzword.
Yeah. So the responsibility that they have to the client, it's really special, and that's something that you have to nurture as a lawyer. And you really have to act ethical in situations like that. For example, if you were working on a case and you knew some sort of information about your opponent or the client of your opponent, say you'd worked for them before, you have to disclose that because it's the right thing to do, and they really stress that if you can in Ingersoll Rand.
Great. You know, I hope that all the attorneys, you know, in the city here, can learn to be a little more like this firm here.
Yeah, and you know, ethics and lawyers usually don't come up in the same sentence, but overall, I was impressed with what I found here. I really was.
Great, and you're right. They absolutely don't. They're usually dirty, rotten scoundrels, from what I can remember. But
Easy now, Jeff.
yeah. Well,
Right.
hey, thanks for coming in today.
Yeah.
I gotta kick you out. I got another one prettier
Great.
person than you coming in.
Thank
We'll
you.
see you later.
See you,
All
man.
right, buddy. We're back, and now for the prettiest member of the show tonight, we have Miss Kaylee Serafin that interviewed Grossman, Yankin, and Ford. Everyone give it up for Kaylee. Kaylee, hi. It's great to see you again. Yeah, great to see you too. Thanks for coming out here. So, we'll get right to it. Can you tell me a little, I mean, accounting's kind of dry. Can you tell me about what kind of ethical policies do they have at Grossman, Yankin, and Ford that you can tell us about?
Well, they have to follow the laws enforced by the PICPA, which all CPAs have to follow. So those ones are pretty dry and boring.
Mhm.
But then they have their own policy just within the firm, which is authored by Mr. John Yannick, and then he also writes them with an HR rep, and they have their lawyer make sure everything they're doing is like following code. They'll change it about once a year. They go over it with new employees when they get hired, and then they post it online on their employee portal, just so it's easily accessible.
Great. That sounds pretty interesting. So, the next point, so, you know, I heard from a little, friend I have in the firm. They wanted me to ask you about whistleblowing. So, can you tell me, were they familiar with the idea of a whistleblower? And if they were, did they have a policy about it?
They did actually know what a whistleblower was. He said that they did write it in their policy. They just have someone in HR basically deal with everyone. So then when we asked about an ombudsman, he had.
Ombudsman, Sean? I think that's a buzzword.
So he didn't know what an ombudsman was, but when we explained it, he just said it was someone in HR. Yeah.
Good, great. Okay, so did he tell you any, if there was any time in the office, you know, what we wanted to know, our viewers were really asking, I think there was 67% of our viewers wanted to know if there was any juicy details going on in that accounting firm.
So that's also what we wanted to know. That was
Okay.
our big question.
And?
He did tell us of one instance where there was an employee leaving the company, so she reported it when she left. And she said that there were two people having an affair within the firm that was interfering with other people's work and their work, and that's where they draw the line. So they investigated the situation, checked the company computers, checked the cell phones the couple were using to see that they in fact were having an affair.
Oh.
So they brought them in with two other employees and told them they needed to straighten up, change some things, and that everything would be fine. Nothing changed. They had to talk to him again, and then finally everything was good and no one had to be fired.
Well, that's good. That could have been a conflict of interest
Oh yes.
buzzword. Okay, so next question. Our viewers also want to know, what if there's a problem with a client? You know, what if you face an ethical issue, not just within the firm, but outside the firm as well?
Well, they have a few standards they have to follow with who they're going to work with. They have to be independent with their clients if they're doing an audit or a business evaluation, which means no family members with the partner and company, no spouses, nothing like that. You can't have any loans with that other company and no investments with them. But if it's just a tax return or something, that's fine.
So when you say independent, you mean really no interest or affiliation between the firm and their client. They have to be
Yeah.
independent. There has to be no reason for any self-interest, or behavior
So
of that
they
sort.
don't like fake the numbers or anything.
Right,
There's no
sure.
connections whatsoever.
Great. Okay. So, you got anything else for us?
Just that in regards to the clients, they just make sure that they have a good reputation and their ethics are good too, because they want to make sure that their reputation stays good with where their standings, and then make sure they have the means to do what the clients need.
Great. Well, that is really, really a great bit of information. I think we all can say we're a little bit more knowledgeable about the accounting firm side of things here as far as ethics goes with this company. So, thanks again, Kaylee, and we will be back right after this short break. We're back. Next guest, Mr. Matt Young. Mr. Matt, good to see you again, buddy. Good to see you again.
Nice to see you, man. Nice to see you.
Nice to see you. So, did you bring me some free jeans?
No, no jeans this time. No jeans, just a discount. Just a discount.
A discount.
That
okay.
would be unethical.
Yeah, that would be unethical. That would be. Okay.
Yeah, because I didn't want any favors from Emily Malinsky. That's who I met with this week at American Eagle Outfitters, the corporate headquarters down the south side there. Southside Works Pittsburgh.
Sure.
And yeah, I didn't want any favors from her. I just wanted information. Get down to the dirty details of the
Dirty.
company.
Yeah, I've heard some things, man. I'm hoping you can readjust my paradigm I have of American Eagles. Anyway, so I have a question for you. Can I start?
Yeah.
I've really been wanting to ask you this.
Come at me.
Okay, we're come at you, bro. Keeping employees engaged is a huge ethical problem within companies, right? Especially large corporations such as American Eagle. So, millions of profit are lost every year. I'm really wondering, how does AE keep its employees engaged?
Yeah. That's the first thing me and Emily talked about was, drivers of engagement within the company. That's like the main thing that a corporation wants to focus on. Like you said, millions are lost every year. Just employees not being involved in wanting to work within the company. So that's one of the main things that AE prides itself on. And so that's one of the things I want to bring up is during my whole interview with Emily, the main thing, if there's one word where, a word count of how many times she said it, team.
Mm-hmm.
Team. She said team all the time, constantly about AE and how she didn't say department. She didn't say groups or in their meeting rooms. She just said team all the time. So she really focused on teams and how that was the focus of the company. So that's really what AE wants to focus on, is having teams and have the employees be involved in a project. So that's one of the drivers of engagement that she was talking about, is like the level of involvement of employees in the company, and also the degree and line of sight that these employees have in the company. That AE they have their goals every year posted for these employees to know what their department, what their team is focusing on. So that's something that she really stressed to me, was the line of sight that the top level executives have, bouncing between Southside, the New York design office, San Fran's digital office over on the West Coast. The top level execs are bouncing between all those branches, and also they're always updating videos, whether it be quarterly or monthly, about the goals that these the CEOs, the CFO have for the company. And then one of the other things that they have focus as their drivers engagement is how they hire. For example, like Southwest Air, it came out how they said we hire based on attitude here at this place. And that's what Emily said to me when we were talking about something I'll talk about later, as far as global, how they work that way. She said that when it comes to their bottom line, they hire based on people, because their people are the success of the company.
Sure. Well, that's really good to know. My next question for you, being the only real corporation we're interviewing tonight, what information did you gather on the involvement AE has outside of the corporation? So their involvement outside of the company, and also what are they doing to handle their global expansion as a corporation?
Yeah, Jeff. AE, big growing company. They were founded in '77, and then they went public in '94. And ever since then, they've just been rapidly growing, making their jeans.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's one of the main things, that they focus their success on, is, their CSR, corporate social responsibility.
Mm-hmm.
And, that's something they ingrain into their corporate culture. They have, it's called the AE Foundation, and it's their charitable foundation, where they focus on, all their nonprofit things. They have a Big Brothers Big Sisters program. They have a in-house program for their employees who are struggling with anything internally. And so also what they do is they have what's called the AE Better World Day, where they close. That's the only day where they close down all the offices. I think it's in the end of May, I believe she said, and they close down all their offices, and they meet and they bus off to different, mostly environmental projects throughout the throughout the communities to make a big impact on the communities that they serve, especially here in Pittsburgh where their corporate headquarters are, and they really pride that as a big part of their success.
Sounds like they're doing a lot. That's really good. It's really, really good. So can you very quickly tell me about the expansion as a global corporation? Yeah,
globally, real quick, I'll say they have like near 200 stores worldwide now, and they've been expanding rapidly globally. And so I talked to her about the ethics policy globally. They have a ethics handbook that is standard throughout the entire U.S. as far as distribution centers, stores, and offices go. And then as far as it goes, globally, there's different laws and regulations in different parts of the world, so they have to keep that in respect. But definitely, they have the teams, the HR teams here, always building and supporting the teams over internationally when they're getting just started, and then they launch them and make sure that they're following the same standards that American Eagle wants to hold throughout the entire company.
Sure. Well, that's really great. It sounds like they're doing a great job of handling the ethical management of their global corporation. So it was really great having you in here. We've got a lot of information. I think you changed my mind about American Eagle. And
pretty great company, Jeff. Pretty great.
That's solid. We'll see you again soon after this break. And now, rapid fire with our lead executive analyst correspondent, Matthew Brown.
Thanks, Jeff. I've had a chance to review the reports of each of our three journalists here, and this is what I found. I would like to start out by talking about the fiduciary responsibility of each of the three. American Eagle sells a product and therefore has a large client base, while the law firm and the accounting firm each sell a service and therefore are more personal and have a more personal responsibility to their clients. Next, I'd like to talk about the culture of the three. What I found by reviewing these reports is that all three had a very strong team-oriented culture and do an excellent job of ensuring that culture is instilled in the organization. And last, the legal obligation. American Eagle does not or is not limited by a professional organization like the law firm and the accounting firm are. The law firm has the American Bar Association, which provides them a strict set of ethical values that they need to follow, while the accounting firm has the PICPA, which does the same thing for accounting firms. Second, I'd like to talk about some suggestions that I had for the three. I would say that the law firm, Buchanan, Ingersoll, and Rooney, could do a better job of going above and beyond the standards set out by the American Bar Association. For instance, the American Bar Association requires only 2 hours of ethical training a year for lawyers. I think that Buchanan, Ingersoll, and Rooney could do a better job and make them take more, and maybe have a third party come in and teach about ethics rather than just having the senior management do it. For Grossman, Yannick, and Ford, I think they really have an opportunity to improve on their CSR and volunteer more in their community and really get out there and make an impact. And for American Eagle, I think they're a global organization, but what I think they could improve on is being more values-based rather than just compliance-based. Not just get someone's signature saying they'll follow an ethical policy, but really making sure that they are doing that and that they are following this policy. So that's all for me. Back to you in the studio, Jeff. Thank you.
And that sums up the show, everybody. Good night. We will catch you later. Stay tuned for the Late, Late, Late Show. We hope that you enjoyed the time we have together to learn about ethics. We'll see you later.